Bert Gordon, who's still alive by the way, was quite prolific during his time, and is known for having directed many quote-unquote big movies, science fiction flicks which contain giant monsters in them. Apart from The Amazing Colossal Man, which is the movie that we are going to be reviewing today, he's also made others like The Cyclops, released the same year, or The Puppet People, released a year later, and they're equally as terrible. Apparently, Roger Corman almost directed this, and I think it would have been much worse. In this movie, a well-meaning lieutenant is accidentally right next to the blasting of a plutonium bomb, which first burns his whole body to the crisp. But the scientists realize that all of his skin has regenerated into perfectly pristine skin. But the big twist is that the radiation has caused him to go bald, and also becoming a 60-foot giant, but that's just a detail. He also becomes a real grumpy motherfucker, a pessimist who shits on everyone who tries to help him. No, it's the pacing. I really think that it's why this movie is such a stinker, because it's the root of all the other potential problems that this movie has. It's got a slow and uninteresting pacing, consisting mostly of paper-thin characters who talk about science, and the lieutenant's dumbass wife, who either spends her time playing detective or imagining that everything is alright, without thinking that her fiancé is now a mutated giant. One thing that just blew my mind is the fact that no one in the army seems to be able to find the giant. There's some incoherence there. How can you miss such a thing? Anyways, the science is also quite off. Like at the beginning, the explanation given by the surgeon to why his eyes aren't damaged is simply because the lieutenant must have been covering them during the explosion. Okay, so it's a plutonium bomb which can blow the shit out of you and make you mutate into a giant, but if you cover your eyes with it, it's too weak to harm you. And according to our brilliant specialists, the giant's heart is somehow made out of one single cell. Whatever. And judging by the poster, I was expecting the monster to go on a colossal rampage. Look at him, he looks pretty pissed off, and planes and shit are flying straight at him while he's just having his wife hanging around. But what you actually get is the giant stomping around like he's got a stick up his ass most of the time, but there's nothing much happening. And he's also followed by a crowd of curious pedestrians more than anything else. They don't seem quite scared. So this is one of the wimpiest rampages I've ever seen. He goes King Kong mode for a second, before being extremely easily persuaded by the army to put the woman down, and receives a bazooka hit and falls down into a pit. And there you have it. So, this is a bad movie indeed. It's not actually the worst I've seen. It's not bottom of the barrel, but it's quite bad. It's very bland, and it's way too slowly paced to be entertaining. I have a hard time believing that this movie was syndicated during the 1960s, and so was still running on television. It was actually a box office hit at the time, grossing a whopping $848,000, which was a lot of money back then, and would today be the equivalent of $8.2 million. The unlikely financial success of this movie led to a sequel, which is actually even worse than the first movie. And it's called War of the Colossal Beast, which we'll unfortunately have to get to. As if the crap storm wasn't enough with this first film,